Some crimes happen in dark alleys. Some happen between strangers. But the most disturbing cases are the ones that happen inside a home that once looked perfect from the outside. A wealthy businessman, a beautiful countryside mansion, a married couple raising children together in England. To neighbors, Harold and Lucy Landry appeared successful, privileged, even peaceful. But behind closed doors, something darker was building. And on one horrifying night in February 2010, that hidden tension exploded into violence. A brutal attack, a desperate attempt to escape, and a murder that would shock both England and America. This is the story of Harold Landry and the final moments of Lucy Landry. Harold Landry was not an ordinary man. Born in Louisiana, he built a reputation as a wealthy businessman connected to the oil and gas industry. He had money, influence, property, and the confidence that often comes with power. People who knew him described him as intelligent and determined. But there was another side to Harold, a side that had already shown signs of violence years before Lucy's death. Long before England, long before the murder investigation, Harold Landry had already been involved in another shocking incident in the United States. In Louisiana, Landry became involved in a romantic conflict that ended violently. He shot another man during a dispute connected to a relationship, and although he later admitted responsibility, the incident revealed something important about Harold Landry. When emotions and control collided, violence could follow. That history would later become a critical part of understanding what happened to Lucy, because investigators would eventually ask a chilling question. Was Lucy's murder truly a sudden explosion of anger? Or was it part of a much deeper pattern? Lucy Landry was much younger than Harold. Friends described her as warm, intelligent, and caring. She had a life ahead of her. She became Harold's wife and eventually moved with him to England. The family settled into a large countryside property near Worcestershire. From the outside, it looked like a dream life. A wealthy couple, children, a beautiful home surrounded by quiet countryside. But appearances can hide enormous pressure. Behind luxury doors, relationships can slowly deteriorate. And according to reports presented later in court, tensions inside the marriage had been growing. Arguments became more frequent. The relationship became unstable. And people close to the family noticed signs that things were not as perfect as they appeared. Still, no one expected the violence that was coming. February 1st, 2010. It was a cold evening in rural England. Inside the Landry home, something triggered a violent confrontation between Harold and Lucy. What exactly caused the argument remains known only to the two people who were there. But investigators later reconstructed the terrifying sequence of events. At some point during the confrontation, Harold attacked Lucy with a granite rolling pin. The blow was severe, but the violence did not stop there. Lucy was then stabbed repeatedly, again and again and again, more than 20 stab wounds. The attack was frenzied, violent, personal. This was not a random killing. It was rage unleashed at close distance. But despite her injuries, Lucy was still alive. And in those final moments, survival instincts took over. Bleeding heavily, Lucy fled from the house. Imagine the terror, running through darkness, injured, weakening with every second, trying desperately to reach help. Neighbors later reported hearing screams coming from outside. Then they saw a horrifying sight. Lucy Landry stumbling towards safety, covered in blood. She was trying to reach a nearby home, trying to survive, trying to escape her attacker, but she collapsed before she could be saved. The injuries were too severe. At only 38 years old, Lucy Landry died outside her home. After the attack, Harold Landry did not disappear immediately. Police searching the area eventually found him walking alone along a country road. Officers later described him as calm, not panicked, not hiding. When confronted by police, Landry confessed, almost immediately. For investigators, the confession removed one mystery, but created many others. Why had the argument escalated so brutally? What exactly happened inside the home? And how could a wealthy businessman with children and a successful life destroy everything in a single night? As detectives examined the scene, the brutality became impossible to ignore. The rolling pin, the knife wounds, the blood trail leading outside. This had been a horrifying and desperate struggle, and Lucy's final attempt to escape would become one of the most heartbreaking parts of the entire case. Investigators began digging deeper into Harold Landry's past. What they found immediately raised concerns. The earlier shooting incident in Louisiana suddenly became highly relevant. Prosecutors believed it showed a pattern. When Landry faced emotional conflict, he responded with violence. The prosecution prepared to argue that Lucy's murder was not an uncontrollable accident, but intentional murder. Meanwhile, Landry's defense team attempted another strategy. They claimed Harold had been emotionally provoked during the argument. They suggested the killing happened in the heat of passion rather than as a calculated act. In some murder cases, this kind of argument can reduce a charge from murder to manslaughter. But prosecutors believe the sheer brutality of the attack told a different story. More than 20 stab wounds, a blunt force attack with a rolling pin, a victim desperately fleeing for her life. To them, this was not temporary loss of control. It was murder. The trial attracted major attention in both the United Kingdom and the United States. The image of a millionaire businessman murdering his wife inside a luxury countryside home fascinated the public. In court, jurors heard disturbing details about Lucy's final moments. Medical evidence described the extent of the injuries. Witnesses described hearing screams in the night. Investigators explained how Lucy had attempted to escape before collapsing outside. The courtroom also heard about Harold's violent history in Louisiana. That past incident damaged attempts to portray him as someone who simply snapped unexpectedly. Prosecutors argued that violence was not new to Harold Landry. It was already part of his history. Meanwhile, the defense focused heavily on emotional instability and provocation. They hoped the jury would see the murder as an eruption of emotion rather than deliberate intent. But the brutality of the evidence was difficult to overcome. Jurors saw a woman attacked repeatedly and chased into the night, a woman who fought desperately to survive. In the end, the jury rejected the defense arguments. Harold Landry was convicted of murder. The judge sentenced him to life imprisonment with a minimum term before parole eligibility. For Lucy's family, the sentence brought justice, but not peace. Nothing could reverse what happened that night. Nothing could erase those final terrifying moments. Cases like this raise uncomfortable questions. How does someone with wealth, status, and family become capable of such violence? Experts often point to control, emotional instability, jealousy, and unresolved rage. In many domestic homicide cases, the violence is deeply personal. The attacker is not emotionally detached. The crime becomes explosive. Overkill, excessive violence beyond what is necessary to kill, is often linked to intense anger or emotional obsession. And Lucy's murder showed signs of exactly that kind of rage. The case also highlights another painful reality. Danger inside relationships is sometimes hidden from outsiders. Neighbors may see a successful couple. Friends may see smiles and family photographs. But behind closed doors, tensions can grow silently for years, sometimes until tragedy erupts. Perhaps the most haunting part of this case is Lucy's attempt to escape. Even after suffering devastating injuries, she ran. She fought. She tried to survive. Those final moments reveal something powerful about human instinct. The determination to live, to reach safety, to keep moving even when the body is failing. For many people following the case, Lucy's final run through the darkness became symbolic of the horror she endured. Just steps away from help, just moments away from possible rescue. But the injuries were too catastrophic, and the night ended in tragedy. The murder shocked the public for several reasons. First, because of the brutality. Second, because of the wealth and status involved. And third, because Harold Landry already had a violent history. Many people questioned how someone connected to an earlier shooting could later commit another deadly attack. Others focused on the warning signs within relationships. The case became another reminder that domestic violence can exist in any environment, rich or poor, famous or unknown, luxury homes or ordinary apartments. Violence does not care about appearance or social class. On the surface, the Landry family appeared to have everything: money, success, a beautiful home. But behind that image was a relationship collapsing under pressure. And on one cold February night, that collapse turned deadly. Lucy Landry's life ended in terror as she fought desperately to escape. Harold Landry lost everything through an act of unimaginable violence. And the case remains a chilling reminder that sometimes the most dangerous place for a victim is inside their own home. Because behind closed doors, no one truly knows what is happening until it is too late.